Welcome to Some Things You Should Know, the show where we're going to be talking about some relevant and not so relevant news stories that have been going on in the world this past week. I'm Lauren, let's get started. The first thing you should know, the Shroud of Turin is going back on display. The Shroud of Turin is an old linen cloth that bears the image of a crucified man, and many people believe it's the shroud that was wrapped around Jesus' crucified body. It's the most studied artifact in history, and it's a pretty big deal. After a 5-year break, the shroud is going back up on display in the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist in Turin, Italy. The Pope is going to go see it, and viewing is free for the general public, but you have to book a slot. Controversy as to whether or not it's real, and it might be a medieval forgery. But that doesn't matter, as the point is that it's cool and it brings people together. The second thing you should know, Norway is mad at Russia. Russia broke the rules and went to Arctic Norway. You know, because that's where it's at this time of year. The Deputy Prime Minister of Russia went to go open a Russian drifting base on an ice float. Russia has submitted claims for Arctic territory, and those claims are now being reviewed by the United Nations. Let's not forget that time in 2007 when Russia planted their flag 2 miles below the surface of the North Pole, claiming part of the Arctic Ocean for their own. Basically, the political version of licking it to claim it. The third thing you should know, China and the Philippines. China is trying to increase the size of their territory by dumping sand on reefs to create land masses in the South China Sea. This area already has disputed claims with the Philippines, Vietnam, and other South Asian nations. The Philippines are like, no, that's not how it works. But I am tempted to throw a sandbox into the ocean and claim my own personal island. The fourth thing you should know, the FBI and their forensic hair stuff. Apparently, the FBI has given false testimony in all cases involving forensic hair analysis. Flawed data and methods were used in at least 60 capital punishment cases. For the most part, these cases didn't rely solely on the forensic hair analysis, but this would make a great season finale for a crime show. The fifth thing you should know, the migrant crisis. The European Union is trying to figure out what to do about all the migrants crossing the Mediterranean Sea. There have been nearly 2,000 deaths this year, with another 1,000 rescued from the Mediterranean. This is right as a boat of Libyan migrants sank earlier this week. There's been talk of having them submit claims for asylum before leaving their home countries, as well as talk of scaling back rescue efforts so they're not tempted to cross the sea in the first place. Who knows if either of those options will work. The sixth thing you should know, Loretta Lynch. Loretta Lynch is the U.S. Attorney General appointee after Eric Holder announced his resignation last year. There's been a delay in her appointment for multiple reasons. For now, the human trafficking bill is passed, so her nomination can actually be voted on. It's remarkable because no other person has waited this long to get voted on, and because she'd be the first African-American female in charge of the U.S. Justice Department. Yay for the 21st century! Random fact, it's World Vaccination Week. Vaccines are great, and definitely don't lead to autism. The only study that seemed to justify those ridiculous claims was done by a guy paid to have that outcome and took blood from children at his own kid's birthday party. There is literally zero validity to any of his claims. Happy vaccinations, and here's to credible scientific facts based on real research. I'm Lauren, and this has been Some Things You Should Know. Have a wonderful weekend.